my substantive, let me just thank the opposition leader for making South government point very clear. A few rebuttals on the issue of subsidies. Opposition leader came and talked about providing poor housing units or low-income housing units and tax breaks, and we contend that this is part of subsidization for poor that the Prime Minister proposed. He also came and talked about, well, my Prime Minister mentioned the issue of crime, and he came and talked about reducing crime has to do with education. Now, we contend that in order to educate these people, you have to have good schools in those communities. And in order to have those good schools in those communities, you have to use a policy proposed by the Prime Minister. Now, onto my substantive, the issue of crime. The issue of crime is a major one in these communities. We find that in these communities, because there's a lack of opportunity, because there is a lot of unprivileged youths, we find that dons and drug lords enter these communities and take advantage of those youths, which tend to drive up the crime rate in those communities. And also, because these communities aren't served by our public services, there aren't proper roads, there aren't proper building codes, we find that a simple thing as policing, community policing is absolutely difficult or impossible in these communities, and all these effects lead to higher crime rate in these communities. Now, how does settlement propose to reduce crime in these communities? Well, through our proposed development of those communities by private and public sector, which means government, which includes NHT, which that opposition so pointed out, along with private sector entities, we plan to build proper public services in these companies. This means proper roads, proper health centers, proper schools in these communities, which would lead to education of these youths in the communities. And we all know that properly educated youths tend to commit crime less. I'll take it on.
Sir, with wealthier persons coming in, it means that the wealthier will be able to access these services that not necessarily the common man.
And the Prime Minister pointed out, first and foremost, that it will not only be wealthy persons in those communities. The government has made the government has proposed that we subsidize the cost for the poor in those communities. So yes, wealthy persons will be coming in. That's a fact we accept. But we aren't willing to displace the poor in those communities. That is why the government proposed that we subsidize through tax breaks or whatever means for these people so that they can remain